Hello everybody, this is Bindu here with Flavorful Journey, encouraging you to step outside your comfort zone and join us for the journey. Today, we will be making shrimp in a very creamy coconut sauce. Let's take a look at the ingredients. So what I have here is 750 grams of shrimp, or 1.5 pounds, which is shelled and deveined, and you can use cooked one, it's not a problem at all. I have 3 tomatoes, ripe tomatoes that's chopped, 1 medium onion that's chopped, 4 green chilies that's chopped as well. You can devein it, deseed it if you think it's spicy. Mine is just whole. And then 4 garlic cloves here that's chopped, small 1/2-inch piece of ginger that's chopped, half a lemon that's juiced, salt to taste, and I will use about 1/2 teaspoon of turmeric powder from here for both the tempering and also for the sauce. I have some coconut oil here which I'll use for the sauce and the tempering as well. For the tempering, I have some whole mustard seeds, 2 split green chilies, some paprika or Kashmiri chili powder, some chopped shallots, and a curry leaf sprig. I do have a can of coconut milk here, which I'm going to dilute for the first half of the cooking for the sauce. So for that, what I would do is just pour this out, half of them, shake them before you shake them before you open. And I have like lukewarm water here, so this is about 2 cups. So I'm going to use half of this, about. In total, you should have about 500 milligrams or 2 cups. Kind of mix it around and get it ready to cook. Okay, and this is going to be the first half of the cooking, so with the sauce and everything, and the tempering comes at the end. So let's get cooking. So what I have here is an earthen pot, which is made of clay, so which is what we traditionally use in Kerala. But if you don't have one of these, do not worry. You can use any pot that is not non-stick. Because we are going to use lemon juice in the dish itself, it might damage your coating, so you might not want to use that. So you can use a stainless steel pot, anything that's uncoated, even for like iron pots, anything is fine. Ceramic, everything works. So for that, I'm going to put some coconut oil into this and kind of melt it around. Try to use coconut oil for this because it's a very traditional recipe. I just use the Kirkland version of the coconut oil. So once that's melted, okay, so this is completely melted. Now I'm going to add my onions. And you don't want it golden brown, but at the same time, you want it to be like sauteed translucent. That's what you want. So if you look here, the onions are really translucent. It's kind of getting brown on the edges. So now it's time for the garlic and ginger to go in with the green chilies. So garlic, ginger, and our green chilies. Right. So when you put them into the coconut oil, it's going to smell really, really nice, like a fried garlic sort of like smell. That's kind of where we want to land with this. So. Now the garlic and ginger is kind of releasing some aroma. It's really, really smelling really nice. That raw smell of the green chilies is kind of turning into like a fried green chili smell. And now we are going to add our 3 chopped tomatoes here. So the tomatoes need to be cooked down, so it's going to take a few minutes. So you can just leave it relaxing for a few minutes and maybe cover it really quick and get it resting. So let's check on our sauce here. So the tomatoes are cooked down. It smells delicious in here. So now it's time to add our salt. I'm going to add the salt, and I'm going to add half a teaspoon of turmeric powder to this. Mix it all around. Smells really, really delicious. And the next ingredient to go in is really this is the juice of half a lemon, so I'm going to add half of that to this. Hey, 1 seed in here. I need to get that guy out. Okay, there we go. Got that out. So the sauce kind of looks ready. I just want to give it a quick taste test for the salt, just to make sure the salt is enough. Let's see. We definitely need a little bit of salt, or the salt here. So it should be good enough. And right now what I'm going to do with this sauce is that I am going to turn off my stove and let it to cool down. Then when we come back, we will need to grind this down to a very smooth paste, and that's what's going to be your base for your coconut sauce. So I'll be right back. So I just made this into a paste, and you can see it right now. I'm going to bring it back into the pot, and you can see it's a very creamy paste. And then you can use the remainder of the water that we have left over in the blender and bring that, kind of use that to kind of take all the paste from your blender. You don't want to lose any of that delicious sauce. So there we go. So let's bring that to a quick. The pot is already hot, so it's going to kind of come up to a quick boil really fast. I do have my coconut sauce here still waiting for me, so I just have to reblend this. I don't know if you can see this. You can see the little bubbles coming up, and it's kind of it's really hot. And it's time for our shrimp. So I transferred all of that. Give it a quick mix for a few seconds here. It's getting kind of hot, so I use my mitt here. And once that's good, I do have 2 cups of coconut milk, well, half of the can of coconut milk with kind of thinned down with some water here. I'm going to add that, add half, and kind of mix it around first. So you can see how that sauce comes together. Nice and creamy. And then I'm going to add the rest of the coconut milk as well. So we might need additional salt, so we'll check on that in a minute once this shrimp is kind of cooked through. The sauce starts to thicken. It will take about 10 to 15 minutes on the stove. and you could just leave it alone and go do whatever you want. Read a book, play some music, do whatever. That's perfectly fine, and you can come back and check on it, and it should be ready by then, 15 minutes or so. So I'm going to leave it on medium flame, covered for about 15 minutes. I'll see you back then. So the shrimp has been on the stove for about 15 minutes, so let's take a look at it. It's cooked through, and it is creamy and to the desired consistency. It's going to get thicker as it kind of cools down, so you don't want to get too thick before you get it off the stove. So this is kind of where we want this, and it's at the right place. All I'm going to do at this time is just to add 2 big tablespoons of the thick coconut milk on top and kind of mix it around. You do not want it to boil fully, like once you add this. So once you mix it around, you can see that white color kind of comes through, and that's kind of good enough. We want it to be thick and creamy and yellow sauce, and you don't want it to be overly sweet. At this point, I'm going to taste it, and I'm going to look at the salt and if we need any more tart. Everything is so perfect, you don't need anything to it. So the only thing that's missing on here is the tempering. So I don't know if you can see it's like very thick and creamy. So we have a pan on the stove on heat, like right now for tempering. So I am using the rest of the coconut oil here. And once this is all melted and warm, should be able to see it all melting. I'm going to add half of my mustard seed, whole ones, and you can see once it's starting to get hot, it will start to splutter in the oil itself, and you should be able to see that as well. So once that's done, that's when the shallots are going to go in. So now you can see that it's starting to pop. You can hear the popping noise. At that time, you can add your shallots. Just need to be translucent. You can possibly see it's kind of starting to brown on the edges. I'm going to put my green chilies. Like I said, this is totally optional. If you feel like you don't want the heat, you can de-seed it and take out the seeds, the veins, and then try to put it on just for garnish. But I always like a little bit of pop of color. And I am going to use a 1/4 teaspoon of either paprika. This is actually Kashmiri chili powder, so it's very less spicy. It's not very hot. So this, you can use this or just plain paprika is fine. This is just for the garnish. It gives a nice color contrast on your yellow curry on top. And once you don't want to burn, because once you put the chili pepper in, it's going to burn really fast. So you want to kind of reduce your heat, and you don't want it to be on the stove for a while. So I'm going to put in my curry leaves. Curry leaves. And the tempering is ready. I'm going to turn off the heat. It is ready and popping. All right, so I am going to put that onto my curry here.